Welcome to a emergency live stream to talk about Tata Martino potentially being the new manager of Los Angeles Football Club. Thought this was worthy of coming live to talk about just because of how big of a deal it is and all the success that Tata Martino has had in Major League Soccer, and also the way that his exit occurred with Inter Miami, which we'll also talk about because there's been some debate on how he left Inter Miami. Was it he got fired? Was it that he left on his own accord? There's a couple different things we can talk about when it comes to that. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in for this emergency live stream. Also wanted to say that I'm sorry about the the delay because of my internet. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys for stopping by because this is newsworthy. And sorry it took 2 hours, a little too late. But so a report came out earlier that Tata Martino reached a verbal agreement with LAFC. This is according to German Grova. The paperwork is being exchanged to sign a contract for him to return to the United States to manage next season. That's what the report said. And now there has been a couple people say that this is not the case or that's not going to happen. I think that there's a good chance it will. I mean, this German Grova, he has 160,000 followers on Twitter. He also is a big Argentinian reporter. So I think that there's a lot of legs to this, and I think it's likely to happen. And there's a couple of comments. Cringe says he had issues with how the team was being run. Let's see. This is a terrible news for Inter Miami. It's going to make them look bad, and LAFC is going to click Denis and Sonny at top. We'll talk about that. And Harry says, what am I missing? Why is Martino LAFC bad news for Miami? What happens in the West hardly matters. I'll explain that in a little bit. Mr. says, I will. John Lee says, hello. Appreciate you for stopping by. Cute Kenny says, hola, tío. Hey, Unc. That's funny. So there is this is big news in my opinion, because this is a perfect hire for LAFC. And there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about what he did at Miami. We're going to pull up his stats and what he did there. And also Tata Martino was instrumental in helping Atlanta United, which was an expansion team in 2017. He was instrumental in helping them win their first MLS Cup, their only MLS Cup in 2018. And that team has not been the same since he left in 2020. 2018. After that season, he left for the Mexican national team job in 2019. So he hasn't been there in 7 years, and the club has never been the same since he left. That's just a fact. So he is a good coach. He is very good. We'll talk about that. But also, guys, I forgot to mention this. If you haven't already, make sure you give us a like down below. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, we're the only channel that's going live to talk about breaking news or any type of coaching change or any type of just major MLS news. We're your go-to spot when it comes to this league. So make sure you give us a like and a subscribe down below. Hit the little bell notification so you never miss any of our videos. We appreciate all the support greatly. But like I said, there was counter reports saying that this hasn't been official, that he is a final candidate. But I believe he will be the next manager of LAFC. That's what I feel. I'm not saying I'm reporting this. I just think that it's probably going to happen because they want a manager who can play attractive, quality ball that's engaging and fun for the fans. And that has this man written all over it. And we're going to talk about let's talk about 2024, what Tata Martino did in Miami, because like I said, he was the Atlanta United manager in 2017, 2018. And then he ended up leaving to go take the Mexican national team job. So that was years ago. Let's talk about what he did last year. Okay. So Inter Miami 2024, Tata Martino took over 2023 halfway through the season when Inter Miami signed Lionel Messi, because they have a history together. Tata Martino has been the coach of Messi 2 prior times before he took the Inter Miami job. So they hired him at Inter Miami, Tata Martino, because he was the perfect candidate. He's a guy who's won in Major League Soccer before. He's a guy who has coached Lionel Messi before. He's a guy who's coached several of the Barcelona players before. He just checked all these boxes that you really can't find anywhere else. it made way too much sense for them to hire Tata Martino. So they did. They hired him in 2023, and they won the League's Cup, which was the first year of the tournament in the fashion that that we currently know, where they have all these teams from Mexico and the United States, the Liga MX and MLS playing against each other. He's the first one to ever win that. They didn't make the playoffs in 2023, but it was because of the steep mountain they had to climb to get back into playoff contention. It was just too much. But in his first full season with Inter Miami, they set the MLS points record. They had the most points in MLS history. It was previously the New England Revolution in 2021. They had 73 points. And then in 2024, Tata Martino and Inter Miami broke the MLS record with 74 points in a season. They won 22 matches, 4 losses, 8 ties. They only lost 4 games in 2024. They lost 4 games. And we're going to look at how Miami has struggled this year compared to last year, because they have mightily struggled, because this is the coach that LAFC is potentially getting. So you're going to want to know how different the quality of play and how much worse Inter Miami is playing without him. And so he finished at the top of the league. They won the Supporters Shield in 2024. They were clearly the best team. They had a plus 30 goal difference. Now, Columbus had a better goal difference, but Miami scored the most goals in the league in 2024. They were just a fun team to watch. Now, the downside to Inter Miami in 2024, and the reason why Tata Martino was fired, which we're going to talk about that as well, was because in the first round of the playoffs, they play a best of 3 match or series, best of 3 series. And Inter Miami were the favorites to win the MLS Cup in 2024. Rightfully so. They had a great season. And they lost in the first round to an Atlanta United team who was injured, had only one DP on the roster, and had an interim head coach. So they got embarrassed in the first round and they lost. And that is why Tata Martino left Inter Miami. Now, there is reports that says that Tata Martino left on his own accord because of health concerns, but that's just BS. It's not true. It's just not true. There's too much. First of all, if that was the case, why would he be taking another managerial position 1 year later? That doesn't add up. He was forced out because they didn't meet expectations, and they forced him out of Inter Miami. That's what happened. That's what I've been told by several people. He was fired. And anyone who follows European ball knows, or even South American ball, if a team with a pedigree or a team with expectations like Inter Miami, especially having Messi, Suarez, Busquets, Alba, all these players, when you have a team collectively like that and they don't win the league, of course people are going to get fired. It's just a fact. That's what happens. So they use the health thing as kind of like a way to soften the blow of him getting fired, and just gave him kind of like his own way out, or gave him the narrative of his own way out. But he would make no mistake about it. Tata Martino was fired by Inter Miami. That is a fact. That is the truth. It is what it is. That's what happened. Okay. So he gets let go. They hire Javier Mascherano. And this is important too, to talk about Miami, because we're going to talk about how much worse they played this year. Okay. So like I mentioned earlier, they had 22 wins, 4 losses, 8 draws in 2024 with Inter Miami. And they scored 79 goals for Inter Miami in the regular season. And I want to compare what they've done in 2025 under Javier Mascherano. So they've got 20 wins. No, sorry, that's Philadelphia. My bad. They've got 17 wins, 7 losses, 8 draws. So they've already lost more games. They're not going to finish. They're not going to win the Supporters Shield. I know they have scored 72 goals this year, but they've also conceded a lot more goals. I think they only conceded 49 last year. But the problem with, or the reason why they fired Tata Martino was also because they didn't think his system was defensively sound, and it conceded way too many goals. And they brought in Javier Mascherano because he is more of a defensive-minded coach, and that hasn't helped. It's been just as bad, or it's actually been worse than it was. And they're not going to, so they're scoring less goals under Javier Mascherano, and they're also going to concede more goals. So the team fired Tata Martino, and they actually got worse. There's no question about it that Tata Martino is definitely a better manager than Javier Mascherano. Now, also one thing I want to share about Tata Martino is just his resume, right? He's coached Barcelona. He coached the Argentine national team. He was instrumental in Atlanta United's foundation, the building of that team. He is the first manager to really give MLS that South American flair, that South American style of play in Major League Soccer, and it caught the league by storm. And I think it honestly is going to be a very, very important piece historically for Major League Soccer, what he was able to do for Atlanta United in 2017 and 2018. But, he also won an MLS Cup. He won a championship with Atlanta United in his second season. In his second season, he won MLS Cup. So he plays we'll get into the system, I guess, and how he would fit LAFC. But he just checks a lot of boxes, and he was done dirty. I think he was done dirty. He's got a 54% win percentage with Atlanta United. He had a 52% win percentage with Inter Miami. But also, these consider all of the competitions they played, not just MLS regular season. And he obviously had a really bad team his first year, but his second year, he was incredible. And you could tell the team really improved under Tata Martino compared to what it was under Phil Neville. Now, as far as LAFC, okay, LAFC have had two managers in the existence of their club. Two managers. They had Bob Bradley and they had Steve Cherundolo. Bob Bradley played a 4-3-3, and it was the most exciting brand of ball that I think LAFC has ever had. That was the year, under Bob Bradley's leadership, they had the 2019 season where they had what was it? Carlos Vela set the MLS record where he had 34 goals and he had 15 assists in 31 matches. That was under Bob Bradley. Okay. So that was that exciting 4-3-3 that a lot of LAFC fans had been accustomed to seeing. And they also, real quick, just to show you this, the 2019 season, they won the Supporters Shield. LAFC did under Bob Bradley in the 4-3-3 system. They won the Supporters Shield. They scored 85 goals that season, and they only conceded 37. They had a 48 goal difference in 2019 under Bob Bradley. But then they shifted to Steve Cherundolo, who also he does run a 4-3-3, or he has historically. He's just a little bit more the build-up play, the counter play. It's a lot more of a conservative style. It's not an exciting brand of ball, in my opinion. It's not. We never seen Carlos Vela have that type of season again under under Steve Cherundolo like he did under Bob Bradley. Now, some people can say it's age, or some people can say that is because of injury or whatever it was. But either way, the brand of ball under Dolo has not been as exciting as Bob Bradley. So in comes Tata Martino. He's going to run a 4-3-3, and sometimes he'll run 5 out of the back, kind of similar to what they've done right now under Steve Cherundolo. It's all circumstantial, but we've seen him have a 5 in the back system. We've had him play a 4-3-3. He's very fluid, and he will do what's best for the team, and he'll do what's most effective for the team. But he's going to score a lot of goals. He's going to be very effective, and he is a very, very smart manager. He is a good manager. He's a good motivator. He holds players accountable. And with them having Denny Bwanga, Son Heung-min, and who knows who else they're going to sign next offseason. I mean, they have a little bit of a flexibility to add some players. This is the type of manager that you would want to bring in here to turn things around, to help this team play an exciting brand of ball and to get the most out of these players. Now, in the offseason, and this is all hypothetical if they hire him, but it does look like he is the leader in the house or the leader to get this job. But he's going to utilize Son Heung-min, and he's going to utilize Denny Bwanga pretty well and better than what Steve Cherundolo is doing. And I want to use one other player for an example of why I think he will do a good job of utilizing his players to the best of their ability. And you could see now, look, this guy right here, don't get me wrong. He's definitely washed and cooked. He's not nearly as good of a player as he was a year ago, but I just want you guys to look at the stats right here, these stats, okay? I want you to look at these stats. This is Luis Suarez, a.k.a. La Tortuga, the turtle himself, okay? In 2024, when he was 37 years old, and he was still very old, under Tata Martino, he played in 27 games, 21 starts, 1,900 minutes, 20 goals, 9 assists, okay? And almost 200 more minutes in 2025. 200 more minutes. He has 11 less goals and only one more assist than last year. So his goal contributions have went down by 10, and he's played in more minutes than he did in 2024. So that's a player right there that you can see who has struggled and has not played as well in Major League Soccer since he lost Tata Martino. Now, as far as Son Heung-min and Denny Bwanga, I'm not sure which formation he's going to roll out exactly. I mean, he might stick with the 5 in the back and have them up top. He might go to a 4-3-3, have Denny Bwanga play on the right side and Son Heung-min on the left side, and have a striker, them sign a striker to play in between them. And we saw last night, if you watched the game, that it worked pretty well for LAFC. That's how they scored their last goal, because they changed the formation up a little bit and it helped them out. I'm not sure if that's what they're going to do. I have no idea. We'll have to see when he gets here and what kind of players he brings to LAFC. But I will say this. If they sign Tata Martino, I believe 99% sure that LAFC will break the 85 goal record that they set themselves in 2019. I believe that they will smash that record, and that Son Heung-min and Denny Bwanga might be the first duo to ever score 25 plus goals, maybe even 30 goals in a season, because of how good the system fits the attackers and how much space it opens up and what it does. I think they'll be the first duo to score 25 plus goals. And Keyshawn says they need a better midfield. But that's the thing. I think that Tata Martino will have a better midfield, because he's the guy who signed. And that's another thing. He is a hell of a scout. He went and signed this guy, just to show you real quick, that no one had ever heard of. No one had ever heard of this guy. A guy that goes... Uh-oh. Oh, lost you for a second. I think we're good now. But they signed him as a U22 at 20 years old. Okay, Inter Miami does. He balls out playing in Inter Miami for 1 year, essentially, and gets a move to Brighton in the Premier League, and he's been balling out ever since. He's been one of the better players. They sold him for 15 million pounds. 14 million pounds, excuse me. 14 million pounds is what Brighton signed him from Inter Miami for. 15 million pounds. 14 million pounds. So, and he's been playing pretty well for Brighton. Very good. And Inter Miami miss him very much. This is a guy that he scouted. Miguel Almiron's a guy he scouted. Joseph Martinez is a guy he scouted. The guy has a keen sense for talent, and he knows what quality players he needs to fit his system and to play well. So I believe 100% that Tata Martino will fix LAFC's midfield. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's hired. He will fix the midfield. He will help this team find more or create more chances in the middle and play more effectively to set up their attackers in the final third. I believe that's going to happen. Mr. Mister says, I think Tata will do a job in LA, a creative midfielder and another center back, and they could dominate next season. I'm going to be honest with you. This is still early, but another thing we haven't even talked about is how about the fact that he was disrespected at Inter Miami, forced out the door. He wants motivation. I think went out again. Sorry about that, guys. This internet's been giving me trouble all day, so I apologize if I cut out there. But he wants to prove himself. He wants to prove that he still has it. He was done wrong by Inter Miami, and he wants to win an MLS Cup to prove that it was not him. It was Inter Miami. Now, there's also reports, too, about some of the players and him not getting along, and some players of him not getting along at Inter Miami, and that he was telling them what to do, maybe being a little disrespectful. I don't really know too much about that. I know he's had a couple arguments with certain players, but I don't know for sure what happened or what was said, but that's just been rumors. But I do think that some of those guys on the team obviously have a certain a resume to where they probably don't think they need to be coached by Tata Martino or told what to do or how to play or, what they're doing wrong. So I do think it's a little bit of an ego thing. And I just think that Tata Martino will be a much better fit in LAFC. And I think that it will be, first of all, it's good to have another quality manager in MLS again because he is a quality manager. And I think he's going to prove that the Inter Miami did him wrong and that they made a mistake by letting him go. I think he's going to be a great manager for LAFC. Now, do you guys, I haven't asked you guys this. Do you think that Tata Martino to LAFC is a good hire? Would you want Tata Martino to be the hire for LAFC based on his pedigree and his resume that he has as a manager in Major League Soccer alone? Mr. Mister says, do LA play Miami at any point next season? Tata, yeah, I think they would play them just because of that. They would definitely probably set that up to have them play each other just because of the storyline, right? Miguel says, wonder if Tata Martino would scout Asian talent as well. I'm sure he would. I think he would probably take the best player. Just let him watch the player and he'll know what to do. Diego says that Tata to LAFC would feed families. I think it would. I mean, I think it would be a better version of what we saw under Bob Bradley. I think it would be more organized and more talented and probably more exciting. And he's actually won an MLS Cup in the last 10 years. I think it would be incredible. Harry says Garber would make them play home and away to Celtic. I think that possibly could happen. Normally, it doesn't happen with a East versus West matchup. They don't play twice in a year. Normally, it's one game, but it could happen because of this storyline. Mr. Mister says Tata would be a good hire. He would be a good hire. I think that it's the right hire, and I'm thankful that they're not just going to promote one of their assistant coaches who is currently with Steve Cherundolo, because most of them are failed managers themselves. It would be a disaster. I think they need to go out there and get a proven coach who's of quality. And luckily, they have a guy who's also played or coached in Major League Soccer before, and he's been good. Like, he's a good coach, and he's also won a Major League Soccer. And also, I did see some people say that Curtin is who they would want for LAFC. I wouldn't want Jim Curtin over Tata Martino, and I'll tell you why. Because I did hear someone say this, and I'll probably talk about this more tonight. Jim Curtin has never won an MLS Cup. In the first year he leaves, Jim Curtin does, of Philadelphia Union, they have the best season they've ever had. So he leaves. They really didn't sign anyone too crazy. Jim Curtin leaves, and then Bradley Cardinell comes in here, and they have the best season they've ever had. So I wouldn't want Jim Curtin. I wouldn't trust it. I would rather have Tata Martino, a guy who has coached some of the biggest players, coached the best player of all time. I would want someone with that pedigree to be the manager of my team. And especially with this, him winning an MLS Cup. Jim Curtin has never won an MLS Cup as a manager. So the team that fired him has been better without him, and he never has won an MLS Cup. So I think Tata Martino has got to be the number one pick to be the guy for LAFC. And also, too, if they do hire Tata Martino, he would be the first manager in club history who is a foreign coach. They've only hired domestic up until this point. Now, they have only had two managers since 2018, but still, this will be their first international coach. MC says LAFC definitely needs a better manager. They do, and he is a better manager. Trust me on that. He's a better manager than Dolo. It's not even close. Lynn says Inter Miami needs a better manager too. They do. They do need a better manager, and they probably will have a better manager because they're not going to go far, and they're going to fire Javier Mascherano. But I just think that this is a great hire. I think that it's going to help LAFC be more sustainable. It's going to help them play more exciting ball, and it's going to make them be more consistent. And the guy just wins everywhere he goes. He's been the coach of two national teams. He's coached in South America. He's coached at Barcelona. He's coached at Mexico. He's coached two MLS teams. Like he just has an incredible resume that not many people would have. And I just think that he's only 60. I mean, he's 62 years old, still relatively young. I think for manager, he could still coach for several years. I do think it would be an incredible hire for LAFC. And I think Son Heung-min and Denis Bouanga, the two stars of the team, would be very content with having him as their manager. Mr. Duke says, hi, just logged in. Hello from Chicago. Mr. Duke, appreciate you for stopping by. Sorry if you missed some of the earlier part of the show. You'll just have to go back and rewatch it and hear what I had to say about Tata Martino and how good he would be for LAFC. But LAFC is already a team who I think could win MLS Cup this year just based off their two-star attackers in Son Heung-min and Denis Bouanga. Now, signing him and helping build the rest of this team out, the sky is the limit, and I would think they probably would be considered the favorite in 2026 to win MLS Cup just because of all the what they have going for them in the attack and then having a manager who can help them fix their weaknesses. But guys, I think that's going to be all for tonight. We went like I think almost 25 minutes. I do think this would be a good hire. I think it would be incredible for MLS to get him back in the league. I think it'll be incredible for LAFC to have a competent manager who knows how to coach the all facets of the game and be good in the attack, better on the defense, and also a guy who can help you fix your weaknesses and who is motivated to prove people wrong that he was wrongfully let go. I mean, what more could you want than a motivated manager? That normally works out for you to have someone who is good and who has been doubted. So we'll see what happens. We'll see when this gets officially announced. We'll probably do another live stream whenever he does officially get hired. If that happens, it's all speculation right now. But there were reports saying that he was the leader in the house and that he was likely to be the next LAFC manager. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're trying to hit 12,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And we're also going to be doing a giveaway for I almost called it FIFA. FC 2026. We'll be doing a giveaway for that sometime soon. So be on the lookout for that. And if you make sure you hit the little bell notification so you never miss any of my live streams, watch alongs, or new videos. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Until next time, guys, I will see you all soon.